Okay, in part 2 of my mom's transmission rebuild, I'm going to be cleaning the transmission and getting it ready for powder coating. I'm going to first wash it with gasoline, then pressure wash it, then sandblast it, then it should be ready for paint or powder coating. And all these gears will be washed with gasoline too and be ready to go when the transmission's painted and ready to get rebuilt. Apparently, it used to be white. White. So apparently, it used to be gold at one point of its life. I don't know who painted it gold, but ain't going gold back. Yeah, it's painted gold. It's just a tail-end. Nothing else is painted that color. Oh yeah. Now that all the parts are nice and clean, all the synchros, input, output shafts, forks, they're all nice and clean. Now I'm gonna be putting in the casing, which is the tail end, the shifter, and the front in the sandblaster to get it sandblasted and get it ready for paint. Well guys, everything is sandblasted to the best of my abilities. As you can see, you remember it was a gold color. Now it's raw aluminum. Sandblasted everything in my sandblasting cabinet that I got from Harbor Freight. Pretty good little sandblaster. Well worth the money. Now all I have to do is, which I already did, is turn on my oven and have it preheat to 400 degrees. Once that's ready to go, I'll stick the parts in for a bit. And then once that's ready, I'll pull them out, let them cool down, and start powder coating them. The parts have been baked. Some of the parts have been baking for about 5 minutes. It's time to pull them out. The reason I bake before powder coating them is to burn off any of the oils it still might have and the contaminants. It makes for a better bond of the powder coat. You just have to be careful because they're hot. Set it down on this cardboard for now. Let it cool down for a bit. And then what I'm going to do is grab each individual part and hang them on this rack. So then I can powder coat and stick it back in the oven. Right now what I'm going to put in is the front half of the transmission case on the shifter. Just gonna remove this tape that I had put on prior to sandblasting. Try to keep as much sand as I could out of the transmission. And before powder coating, I will be reapplying tape, but instead of using just regular masking tape, I'll be using a thermal tape, which is like this. This will prevent from getting powder coat on surfaces I don't want to put powder coat on, and that's rated for high temp, unlike masking tape. With this tape too. This part is ready to go in the oven, just as this part. Oh, I lied. Now it's ready. Okay, now that these parts have cooled down a bit, enough that I can kind of touch them without getting burnt, I'm going to be taping up the ones that I need to tape up in the back so it doesn't get powder coated in them, like this one and this one. But the front won't be taped up because this is going to get powder coated. Then all of these other pieces will just be hung up because these don't need to be covered. And I want these to get powder coated completely. And again, I'll be using thermal tape just so it won't melt under the heat. Now that everything's taped up, all I have to do is hang it on the oven rack. And I do this because I have to well, this one I can lay it down flat to powder coat, but it makes it easier being hung up. All I'm going to use is wire and stick it through one of the holes for the studs. And what I'm going to be doing is powder coating one, moving it back, and so forth. That way I can get nice even coverage on all of them. The gun I'll be using to powder coat is a gun called Redline. I got this one from eBay. It works pretty well. I love how it works. I used to have a Harbor Freight one. And compared to this one to the Harbor Freight, this one does wonders. And I'm just going to make it a glossy black finish. But first, let me connect the air. Powder is easily applied. You just attach your ground to your part and then just pull the trigger and start misting over the part. As I see, I have too much air, so I'm gonna turn it down a bit in my adjustment. Start spraying. Making sure everything's covered. I'm gonna grab my light. And I need a little bit on top. part looks ready to go. Now what I'm gonna do is just move it towards the back and go on with my next one. The good thing about powder is if you mess up, or let's say you get a drip, like the drips that happened in the bottom, that you pour too much powder, you can easily get an air gun, blow it off, and restart. And just repeat. Oops. As you can see, the powder wasn't sticking as well. Forgot to put my ground. Now that the ground's on, it should adhere the powder way better. As you see, I turned up the air feeding out of the gun because in powder coating it's hard to reach deep crevices, so you need a little bit more power, more air to shoot the powder in. Once I see that it's covered, I turn it back down. And as you can see, all these parts are powdered already. All they need to be is cooked. So right now I'm gonna put this in the oven and let it cook for 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. And I won't start the timer until this powder becomes like a liquid. Because as you can see, it looks powdery, flat. And once it starts flowing, when it starts melting, it starts turning a liquid. It starts turning glossy. So once it starts turning glossy is when I'll turn on the timer. Now the case is ready to get powder coated. I'm going to be sticking the ground right here and right here because it has a cover that goes over it, so the little bit that won't get painted won't harm it. And for this one, my gun has a setting. I'm gonna pick it up a tad bit just because it's thicker aluminum, so it can adhere better. And you know what? I'm going to move that ground because I feel it's gonna be in my way. I'm going to attach it from the bottom of the case. That way it's not in any of the way.
Invincible.
Well, you guys, I have 5 minutes left in the timer. I just want to give it a quick checkup to see how it's all doing. As you can see, they used to be powdery. Now they're all black and shiny. And they're coming out pretty great. Just gonna leave it there for that 5 minutes that it still needs, and then take it out. And this is the end product you should expect from powder coat, a long lasting, durable coat. can see these are just, they're right here on the little paint booth that I built, just cooling down, just getting ready to get back assembled. All the little specks you see or might see are dust that has just been collecting, but it doesn't stick on it. You can rub it off. Well, you guys, I didn't leave it enough time cooking before adding the coat. So you can see all these bubbles. These are all reaction bubbles. It means the surface of the metal before powder coating wasn't clean enough. So it reacted and made fisheye all throughout the bottom portion of it. Well, the top too, but top didn't get as bad, but the bottom got really bad. This sucks. I'm gonna have to go buy some paint remover, apply it, remove all this powder coat, re-put in the oven to make sure all the oils are out, degrease it, recook it just to be safe again, and then hopefully they won't react anymore. And this is the only piece that actually got fish-eyed. Sorry, it's still hot. You can see it's really, really bad. At least I consider it bad. A lot of people would leave it, but I just don't like it. It's not up to my standards. And it's a piece I know that won't be really seen because it's going to be in the back of the car in a tunnel. But I would know it's back there and it's looking like this. Well, guys, this sucks. I thought this transmission was going to be painted today. Well, powder coated today. Well, that didn't turn out as I planned. As you can see, I got tons of fisheye. I guess I didn't clean the part good enough, or I didn't leave it in the oven to burn off the oil good enough. I guess it's a learning curve for me. I haven't really powder coated much besides custom tumblers I sell online and my valve covers for my truck when my heads gave out. So it's a learning curve, like I said. Hopefully next time it'll be better. Thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in, and have a nice day. My cousin Willie, always fucking up. Always getting primer in his fingers. Shut up, bitch.